On the map of Paraguay, there is a small dot called Yataity, a place where 4,000 people live among palm fields, where the only sound each morning is the loom touching the wood. And perhaps, in a world where $31,000 is only enough to buy an old car in America here, it's enough to buy back an entire life. And in a world moving faster than ever, Yataity is the only place that still keeps the rhythm of human breath. Dream it. Pack it. Go. 5. Atyrá, the green heart of Paraguay, where $31,000 turns into a real home. Atyrá, the green heart of Paraguay, where people believe that even the air knows how to stay polite. In October 2025, this small town suddenly became the center of national attention when Expo Cuero, Paraguay's largest suede handicraft festival, opened. Amid the sound of harps and the scent of asado barbecue drifting through the wind, hundreds of artisans gathered, bringing handbags, shoes, and belts handmade with meticulous care in every stitch. But while tourists crowded the central square, just a few streets away, a foreign family was signing a contract for a 12-acre 30-meter plot of land, priced at only $5,000, paid in installments of $60 a month, to begin building their home. And with just $31,000 in total, they had a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, a garden, and even a swimming pool. The Paraguayans call this place La Ciudad Más Limpia del País, the cleanest city in the country. Every morning, they sweep their yards, plant flowers, clean the streets, and take care of every corner as if it were their own home. No smoke, no trash, no noise, only birdsong and sunlight glimmering through the trees. Even visitors can't help but smile when they realize, in Atyrá, you don't just breathe clean air, you breathe a simple way of life. Life here is so cheap that newcomers are often astonished. A family of 4 only needs $400 and $450 a month to live comfortably. Electricity, $30-40, water, $5, stable high-speed Wi-Fi, $18, and fresh market groceries, $100 a week. With beef, river fish, vegetables, crusty bread, and homemade cheese. An entire month without worrying about bills. No debt, no pressure. People slow down, brew tereré tea, bake chipa, tell stories about the rainy season, and laugh together under the porch. Builders here charge only $2 an hour, yet they work with admirable precision. They raise each wall, smooth each layer of paint, and complete the house exactly as planned. Building permits are easy to obtain, local authorities are helpful, and if you invest $70,000 within 10 years, you can get permanent residency, the investment visa, no income proof, no restrictions. That's why more and more foreigners are choosing Atyrá as the place to start over. From retired couples, content creators, to young people escaping the expensive grind of the West. But don't think everything is perfect. One American family's first house project was delayed by 8 weeks because the long rainy season flooded the road used to transport materials. In Atyrá, people don't live in a hurry. Everything takes time. Yet it's that very slowness that makes everything last longer. The space, the people, and the belief that peace is worth waiting for. Atyrá is so safe that you can walk at night without worry. There is no violent crime, and the sound of police sirens is rarely heard. The only issue is a few minor thefts, like someone accidentally taking the phone you left out when you stopped your bike. But compared to big cities, that's just a small scratch on an otherwise peaceful picture. Here, a dental filling costs only $30, public hospitals are dedicated, medicine is cheap, and people trust each other more than they trust paperwork. As for nature, Atyrá is a symphony of green. Summers are warm, winters are mild, rain falls, then stops, leaving the ground fragrant with fresh grass. In the morning, Sunlight spreads over red-tiled roofs and reflects off white walls. In the evening, cooking smoke drifts softly through the palm trees. From the porch, you can see distant hills glimmering in the mist and hear the sounds of cows and chickens carried by the wind, the kind of primitive music that no other place still preserves. The economy here revolves around agriculture, handicrafts, and ecotourism. Locals grow their own vegetables, raise chickens, and make cheese bread to sell at the market. For foreigners, Atyrá is an ideal place to open a homestay, a cafe, or a small leather shop for tourists. The internet is strong, the government is friendly, and the expat community is growing month by month. There is no conflict, no discrimination, only curiosity and hospitality. Everyone who comes here says, "The people here make you feel like you've known them forever." Of course, this small town still has its inconveniences. No big shopping malls, dirt roads that get muddy in the rainy season, and specialized hospitals over an hour's drive away. But in a noisy and unstable world, the peace of Atyrá is a priceless gift. Here, people measure happiness not by their bank account, but by how many times they laugh in a day. When the sun sets, its light paints the red-tiled roofs in gold. Children run around the water well, and you, the person who just laid the foundation for your $31,000 home, stand watching and realize, perhaps happiness doesn't need more than this. No luxury, no showiness, just a real house, a small garden, a few good friends, and the feeling that every morning you wake up, you know you've chosen the right place to start again. If you had $31,000, what would you choose? 1 year of installments in the US, or a lifetime of peace in Atyrá? 4. Caaguazú. The old timber capital, the cool hill region of Paraguay. In mid-April, the San Isidro Labrador Festival once again filled the center of Caaguazú with joy. The whole city poured into the streets, celebrating the saint while singing and dancing around the grand church. The sound of drums, guitars, and the scent of grilled meat mingled with the cool breeze from the Cordillera Caaguazú, once known as the timber capital of Paraguay, now revived in another way. Simple, free, and so affordable that many foreigners can't believe their eyes. Here, life doesn't run after bills. A single person spends about $600 a month on average, while a small family of 4 lives comfortably on around $800–900. Electricity and 8 Mbps internet cost only about $17, and a hot meal at a local diner is less than $7. Locals still buy river fish, fresh vegetables, sopa paraguaya bread, and homemade cheese at the market every morning, then go home to bake chipa and sip mat tea. Caaguazú is a city of self-reliant people. In the past, it was the largest timber processing center in Paraguay, where the sound of saws echoed across the valley. When the timber industry declined, the locals returned to farming and livestock, growing soybeans, corn, raising cattle, chickens, and opening small shops. There aren't many tall buildings or shopping malls, but there is something rare in the modern world: peace of mind. You can buy land, build a house, grow your own vegetables, and live without owing anyone a cent. With $31,000, you can build a new house of 25–60 square meters, with a small yard, open porch, and red-tiled roof among the hills. An inner-city plot of 391 square meters costs about $10,000, and construction costs range from $500–200 per square meter, much lower than in the capital. The former carpenters and builders of the old timber industry have become a generation of skilled craftsmen, working meticulously and reliably. The climate of Caaguazú is much like its people, mild and patient. The city sits at an elevation of 334 meters among green hills, so the air is always more pleasant than in the lowlands. Summers are hot and humid, but cooled by forest winds. Winters drop to around 10 degrees, just cool enough to light a charcoal stove and tell stories under the porch. You can hear the sound of crickets, cows, and church bells from afar, like a symphony of slow living. Caaguazú has the district hospital Distrital, which provides basic medical services for residents, and higher-level facilities are only 180 kilometers from the capital. Security here is considered stable, almost no violence, just petty theft in the town center. The people are kind and friendly, always ready to stop and give directions or offer you a cold glass of tea. The people of Caaguazú, also known as Caaguaceños, are deeply connected to their community. They gather in the square, in churches, or under the old trees in the Central Park. Every December 8th, when the Feast of the Immaculate Conception takes place, the city glows with lights, and songs echo through the streets. They make chairs, carve tables, sell handmade wooden crafts, and pass down their trade to their children, as they pass down memories. Of course, Caaguazú still has its small flaws. A few roads remain unpaved. The rainy season brings mud. Entertainment options are limited, and the hospital is small. But here, people trade convenience for freedom. And when the sun sets over the pine hills, you'll understand that sometimes peace itself is a kind of luxury that cities can't buy. In Caaguazú, $31,000 doesn't just build a house. It rebuilds a life. A life without debt, without pressure, with cool wind, warm rice, and kind smiles from neighbors. If you believe happiness doesn't have to be expensive, hit like to share the spirit of slow living. And don't forget to subscribe, to join me in discovering places where money is small, but life is big. 3. San Pedro de Ycuamandiyú, the Jejuí Riverland, where the sun shines through peaceful dreams. On June 29th, the drums of the Fiesta de San Pedro once again echoed across the Jejuí River. On wooden boats filled with flowers, locals dressed in traditional hand-embroidered aupoi shirts, singing, grilling asado, and dancing under the blazing red sunset. Here, in San Pedro de Ycuamandiyú, time seems to stop, leaving only the smell of wood smoke, the sound of laughter, and the river mist floating low over the golden fields. This small city lies more than 350 kilometers from Asunción, in the northern floodplains of Paraguay. It used to be an agricultural river port, but has now become a peaceful refuge for those who want to live slower, cheaper, and more genuinely. The cost of living in San Pedro is so low that visitors often check their wallets twice. A family of 4 can live comfortably on just $750 to $850 a month. Electricity, water, and internet are unbelievably cheap, only about $40 to $50 per month, with fast and stable Wi-Fi for $15 to $18, while a hot meal at a small local eatery costs just a few US dollars. Every morning, the central market opens early. Locals buy riverfish, rice, corn flour, and local cheese. In the afternoon, they sit by their porches, pour cold tea, and watch the Jejuí River reflect the sunset glow. Land prices here are so low, they feel almost miraculous. A 400 square meter plot costs only $9,000 to $11,000, and with $31,000, you can build a small 40 to 60 square meter home with a spacious yard, an airy porch overlooking the fields, and even a little left to buy a wooden boat to drift along the river. Construction costs range from $500 to $800 per square meter, thanks to skilled local builders, cheap materials, and simple regulations. In San Pedro, home is not a financial burden. It's a reward for those brave enough to choose simplicity. I met Thomas, a 67-year-old American engineer from Texas. He said, "I lived 40 years in a place that had everything, but it wasn't until I came to San Pedro that I learned what enough really means." Now, every morning, he rows his small wooden boat along the Yataity River, brings fish to his neighbors, and sips tereré under his porch. He said that here, he doesn't grow old. He just slows down. San Pedro has a local clinic and a regional hospital. Small but sufficient for regular checkups and treatments. For specialized care, residents travel to Concepcion or Asunción. As for safety, this is considered one of the safest regions in Paraguay. Little crime, only a few petty thefts. The biggest risk, if any, is when the rainy season makes the roads muddy or floods the temporary bridges. But to the locals, that's just part of life by the river. The people of San Pedro, the Sanpedranos, are friendly, warm, and always willing to share. In San Pedro, you don't need to speak Spanish fluently to make friends. Just a smile and a shared cup of mate. Every afternoon, men gather in the square to drink cold tea, women embroider aopoi, and children play around the main church. Everyone knows each other, helps each other, and truly cares for one another. This is the kind of community many Americans dream of finding again, a place where neighborly kindness is still real. Of course, San Pedro also has its downsides. The summer heat and high humidity can tire newcomers. Roads and bridges in the outskirts sometimes wear down during the rainy season, and urban conveniences are nearly absent. No cinemas, no shopping malls, and even gyms are rare. But in return, this place gives you what big cities have lost: clean air, low living costs, and a genuine sense of freedom. When the sun sets over the Yataity River, you'll understand. Some dreams don't need much money, only a quiet place to begin again. What do you think? Would you trade your apartment in the U.S. for a small riverside home by the Yataity for just $31,000? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 2. Villarrica, the cultural capital of Paraguay, where music flows with life. This past February, the Carnaval Guairá 2025 lit up all of Villarrica. Gigantic parade floats, dancers in traditional Guarani costumes, and the rhythm of samba drums blending with Paraguayan folk dances filled the night. On the main avenue, thousands of locals and visitors filled the streets, holding warm chipa, sweet coffee, and laughing joyfully under showers of confetti. In that moment, Villarrica wasn't just a city. It was the living soul of southern Paraguay, where music, history, and humanity blend into one vibrant symphony of life. As the capital of Guairá province, Villarrica carries the look of a larger city compared to rural towns like San Pedro or Caaguazú. Yet despite being more modern, the cost of living here remains surprisingly affordable. A family of 4 can live comfortably on just $1,700 to $1,800 per month, including rent. A hearty lunch at a local eatery costs only about $3 to $4. High-speed fiber optic internet is available. Mobile service from Tigo or Personal is cheap, and electricity and water bills total just a few $100,000 Guarani each month. Villarrica is one of those rare places where you can live in a big city, but spend like you're in the countryside. Real estate prices reflect this relaxed lifestyle. In the city center, a 100 square meter house can cost $70,000 to $100,000. But just a few kilometers out, $31,000 is enough to build a 30 to 50 square meter home with a small yard, a wide porch, and a lush green garden. In the suburban areas, land averages around $140 per square meter, still within reach. People often joke, in Villarrica, $31,000 can't buy the American dream, but it's enough to buy a peaceful morning with birdsong. At a small cafe on Independencia Street, I met Lucia, a 26-year-old folk music teacher. She said, "We don't need much money to be happy. Just a guitar, a cup of mate, and a few friends." At night, Lucia performs in the central square, where samba drums blend with Guarani melodies. And you realize, Villarrica doesn't just live, it sings. Villarrica was once a center for the sugar and timber industries, where the Friedman Sugar Factory and the city's coffee and beer plants thrived for decades. Today, its economy has become more diversified. Agriculture, commerce, services, and education form the city's four main pillars. The confectionery plant operated by Argentina's Arcor Group remains strong, providing hundreds of jobs. The wood processing, mineral water, and textile industries continue to grow, and the downtown area is lively with banks, cafes, supermarkets, and mechanical shops. Villarrica's cuisine is rich and colorful, from modern cafes and Italian, Japanese, or Korean restaurants, to traditional markets selling mbeyu, sopa paraguaya, dulce de mamon, and caí ladrillo. Locals still keep their culinary traditions. Coffee with pastries in the morning, grilled meat and cassava in the evening. Fresh ingredients are cheap and easy to find. 1 liter of milk costs only 5,400 Guarani, a kilogram of beef around 36,000, and vegetables and fruits fill the markets all year round. Though it's an urban city, Villarrica preserves its countryside soul. The rustic flavor of Guarani cooking mixed with the refined creativity of its younger generation. In terms of healthcare, the city has the most reliable medical system in the region. The Villarrica Regional Hospital with 86 beds, the IPS Social Security Facility with 40, and over 5 private clinics operating regularly. This is why many elderly residents choose to live here. It's peaceful, yet secure when it comes to health. As for safety, Villarrica is relatively safe. Local police and military forces in the Guairá region maintain good public order, allowing residents to walk at night without fear. The Villarriqueños are friendly, open, and bilingual in both Guarani and Spanish. They love festivals, they love music, and they believe that life is meant to be sung, not rushed. Of course, every city has its imperfections. Villarrica can sometimes get crowded, with light traffic jams during rush hours. Some industrial zones cause dust and noise pollution. Heavy rains can slightly flood a few streets, but none of that can overshadow its essence. A lively city with soul, carrying a strong cultural rhythm unmatched anywhere else in Paraguay. In Villarrica, you don't just buy a house. You buy a lifestyle filled with music, art, and freedom. Share your thoughts in the comments below. 1. Yataity, the village where threads weave the Paraguayan dream. This past October, the Aopoi Hand-Woven Textile Festival 2025 lit up the small village of Yataity across the plains of Guairá. Along the red dirt streets, the rhythmic sound of looms echoed like the heartbeat of the village. Hundreds of white, hand-embroidered fabrics fluttered under the sunlight. Women smiled softly beneath palm hats as visitors from across Paraguay came to admire, shop, and learn how to weave something simple: happiness. Yataity has just over 4,000 residents, but is known as the Cuna del Aopoi, the cradle of Paraguayan embroidery. Life here is slow, gentle, and so affordable that it surprises city dwellers. A small household needs only $200 to $300 per month to live comfortably, thanks to homegrown vegetables, meat, fish, local produce, and shared low-cost utilities. No one talks about money. They talk about thread colors, patterns, and the joy of finishing a new shirt. Land prices here are so low, they sound like a fairy tale. A 2,000 square meter plot near town costs just a few $1,000s. With 31,000, you can buy land and build a 60 to 80 square meter home with red tile roofs, white walls, and a garden filled with palms and greens. In this place, a house isn't a debt. It's a gift made by your own hands. The entire economy of Yataity revolves around one craft, aopoe embroidery. Over 80% of households make their living from it, most of them women. They weave shirts, scarves, pillow covers, and handmade garments exported to Argentina, Brazil, and Europe. Every stitch tells a story of a mother embroidering under the oil lamp, of a child learning from her grandmother, of the pride of a small yet skillful nation. The food here is as simple as its people. Meals often include grilled meat, cassava, boiled vegetables, orange juice, and chipapoe, small cakes with patterns that mirror embroidered fabrics. In the aopoe market, visitors can browse shirts while listening to guitar music and sipping hot coffee. A place where every breath feels slower, but more meaningful. Healthcare here is basic. Only one small clinic, and serious cases go to Villarrica, 17 kilometers away. Yet the clean air, the pure environment, and the slow rhythm of life mean people rarely get sick. The town is almost crime-free. Everyone knows each other, doors stay open all day, and children play outside until nightfall without fear. Of course, Yataity still has its fragility. Infrastructure remains simple. Dirt roads turn muddy after rain, and the embroidery trade sustains everyone. So when the market slows, the whole village feels it. But in every stitch, the people of Yataity weave their faith that true value never fades. When the sun sets over the yatai palms, the soft sound of looms still echoes inside small houses. In this village of just 4,000 souls, happiness isn't measured by money, but by hands and by peace. Because in Yataity, $31,000 doesn't just buy a house. It buys a life that is slow, genuine, and serene. What do you think? Would you dare to live in a place where the sound of the loom is the only thing you hear every morning? When the sun sets over the rows of yatai palms, the rhythmic sound of looms echoes once again inside the small houses. In this place of only 4,000 people, happiness isn't measured by money, but by every thread woven carefully by hand. $31,000 doesn't just buy a house. It buys a life that is slow, genuine, and serene. If you believe happiness doesn't have to be expensive, hit like to spread the spirit of slow living. And tell me, would you dare to live in a place where the sound of the loom is the only thing you hear each morning? Don't forget to subscribe, because the journey to find peaceful corners of the world is still continuing.